Anyway, so way later, Guion finds a crazy Spenserian version of Circe's island from the Odyssey. It's supposed to represent hedonism, but the thing is that it's all so beautifully described, it's hard to see why any of this is even bad. I suppose that was the point, but it just comes off like Spenser was writing in spite of himself here, like, must write serious poem. Ooh, wait, pretty trees! This is really awesome. Okay. And in the midst of all a fountain stood, of richest substance that on earth might be, so pure and shiny that the silver flood through every channel running one might see. Most goodly it with curious imagery was overwrought, and shapes of naked boys, of which some seemed with lively jollity to fly about, playing their wanton toys, whilst others did themselves embay in liquid joys. And over all of purest gold was spread a trail of ivy in his native hue, for the rich metal was so coloured, that white is a man, that white who did not well advised it view, would surely deem it to be ivy true. Lo, his lascivious arms adown did creep, that themselves dipping in the silver dew, their fleecy flowers they tenderly did steep, which drops of crystal seemed for wantonness to weep. Infinite streams continually did well out of this fountain, sweet and fair to see, the which into an ample laver fell, and shortly grew to so great quantity, that like a little lake it seemed to be, whose depth exceeded not 3 cubits height, that through the waves one might the bottom see, all paved beneath with jasper shining bright, that seemed the fountain in that sea did sail upright. So beautiful. Anyway, it's like, how awful! Oh, it's hideous to stop! Anyway, so then there's this lady who represents, excess, the spirit of the excess. With boughs and branches which did broad dilate their clasping arms, in wanton wreathings intricate, so fashioned a porch with rare device. Ooh, what does that remind me of? It was a something of rare device. Keats, I think. Keats. Anyway. Arched overhead with an embracing vine, whose bunches hanging down seemed to entice all passers-by to taste their luscious wine, and did themselves into their hands incline, as freely offering to be gathered, some deep empurpled as the hyacinth, some as the rubine, laughing sweetly red, some like fair emeralds, not yet well ripened. And them amongst some were of burnished gold, so made by art to beautify the rest, which did themselves amongst the leaves enfold, as lurking from the view of covetous guest, that the weak boughs, with so rich load oppressed, did bow adown as overburdened. Under that porch a comely dame did rest, clad in fair weeds, but foul disordered, and garments loose that seemed unmeet for womanhead, scantily clad. In her left hand the cup of gold she held, and with her right the riper fruit did reach, whose sappy liquor, that with fullness swelled, into her cup she scruised. With dainty breach of her fine fingers, without foul impeach, that so fair wine-press made the wine more sweet. Thereof she used to give to drink to each whom passing by she happened to meet. It was her guise all strangers goodly so to greet. Anyway, Guion troops along until he stumbles upon, I kid you not, 2 naked ladies wrestling in a fountain, which is lovingly described for about 5 stanzas. And all the margent round about was set with shady laurel trees, thence to defend the sunny beams which on the billows bet, and those which therein bathed mote offend. As Guion happened by the same to wend, 2 naked damsels he therein espied, which therein bathing seemed to contend and wrestle wantonly, ne cared to hide their dainty parts from view of any which them eyed. Anyway, so they see him, and one of them stood, gazing awhile at his unwonted guise. Then the one herself low ducked in the flood, abashed that her a stranger did avise, but the other rather higher did arise. And blah blah blah. And then the rest, her delights she unto him bewrayed. The rest hid underneath, him more desirous made. Spenser, your morals seem a tad confused. Anyway, so the overall effect of the sequence is kind of hilarious because it's kind of like the spirit of genius is like, hey Guion, drink from my goblet, and Guion's like, no! And the spirit of excess is like, Guion, taste my delicious fruit, and Guion is like, no, no fruit. And then the naked ladies are like, hey, and Guion's like, why hello there ladies. And the old guy's like, be temperate, you fool, it's the theme of the book. So, wrestling naked ladies, something literally no man can resist, I guess. Anyway, it's this really lovely description. The joyous birds shrouded in cheerful shade, their notes unto the voice a tempered sweet, the angelical soft trembling voices made to the instruments divine respondents meet. The silver-sounding instruments did meet with the bass murmur of the waters fall. The waters fall with difference discreet, now soft, now loud, unto the wind did call. The gentle warbling wind low answered to all. Oh, I love that. I think that's one of the best stanzas out of the whole poem, out of like the whole 1,000,000,000 lines. Anyway. So then, the old guy turns out to be some kind of magician all along, and they free all the men that the fake Circe has turned into pigs, except one guy complains, and he asks to be turned back into a pig, and Guion and the old guy are like, ha ha, behold this fool, he wishes to be a pig! Like that, I'm like, is that a joke? Well, at the end of the episode, it's like, ha ha, he wants to be a pig still, wah, wah, wah! I don't know. Anyway, so this poem was originally supposed to be 12 books, and each book represents a specific virtue, so I'm just going to go ahead and assume that it would be 11 books of random knights representing various virtues, and the 12th book would just be called Prince Arthur, and its virtue would just be unspeakable awesomeness. Anyway, then later I looked up Spenser's original plan for this poem, and his original plan for the 12th book as King Arthur's virtue was supposed to be magnificence. Magnificence. It's true. Magnificence. Who can argue with that? Now you yokels need some Keats. Keats. Sonnet. Blue. 'Tis the life of heaven, the domain of Cynthia, the wide palace of the sun, the tent of Hesperus and all his train, the bosomer of clouds, gold, grey, and dun. Blue! 'Tis the life of waters. Ocean and all its vassal streams, pools numberless, may rage and foam and fret, but never can subside, if not to dark blue nativeness. Blue! Gentle cousin of the forest green, married to green and all the sweetest flowers, forget-me-not, the bluebell, and that queen of secrecy, the violet, what strange powers hast thou as a mere shadow, but how great, when in an eye thou art, alive with fate!